This is Unit 7, Week 2, question number 3. What are the 3 or 4 major scandals during the 1920s? 1920s, people don't trust the government. Period of laissez-faire, faith in business. But business and government themselves are pretty darn corrupt. Under President Harding, there's several different scandals. Scandal number 1 is the Secretary of the Interior, the guy in charge of the national parks, national forests. What's he been doing? He's been secretly leasing oil reserves from to Harry Sinclair of Monmouth Oil. It's kind of cool, Sinclair Oil. If you go to their gas station, they got a dinosaur as a logo. Anyways, in Elks Hills, California, and Edward Doheny of Pan American Petroleum. So Sinclair and Doheny are getting special access to public lands, oil reserves. A Senate investigation revealed that these 2 oil executives had given the Secretary of the Interior, Mr. Fall, who took a hard fall for this, charity laugh, $305,000 in cash and a herd of cattle. Can't bribe the Secretary of Interior, I guess, without giving him a bunch of cows. Later, the 2 of them were acquitted, but the Secretary of the Interior was convicted, fined, and imprisoned for bribery. The second major scandal was in the Veterans Bureau. Really, really slimy in the fact that right after World War I, there were lots of American veterans. The guy in charge, Charles Forbes, you might recognize the family name, was appointed to head the veterans. And because he was a very efficient, energetic guy. It was later discovered he'd been embezzling, stealing. Actually, he hadn't been stealing, he'd been borrowing. While he was doling out medical supplies, he would give some medical supplies to the veterans, and a few would just go unaccounted. And then he would sell them to medical hospitals, facilities. He was selling government medical supplies. Check this out. $250 million worth of medical supplies that were in his personal profit. Pretty darn slimy. And the third was Harding's Attorney General. This looks really embarrassing. The guy in charge of law enforcement, the president's legal advisor, is the one that's corrupt now. Through his he didn't do anything, though. Mr. Daugherty, close friend Jess Smith, just happened to get all kinds of bribes from bootleggers, income tax evaders, and others in return for protection, for prosecution. So, eventually, his friend Jess Smith commits suicide in Daugherty's D.C. apartment. Daugherty's tried and acquitted, but later forced to resign. They couldn't prove anything, although his best friend just happened to be getting huge payments from criminals who would have likely been investigated. And that's it for the 4 scandals, or 3 major scandals from some guy in an Aloha print shirt. Don't trust Harding. Hardly worth much of anything.